swung on and driven high and deep into center field. The Red Sox are going to the playoffs. Say down, say hello to October.
It's gone. It's into the bullpen. This game is tied. This game is tied.
Strike three called. 100 miles an hour. His 11th strikeout.
Dale winds. He fires. Swing and a miss. Strike three. It's over. The Red Sox have won the World Championship.
All right, welcome back, Play Tessie, episode 344. It's the official Red Sox podcast of WEEI, presented by Baseballs and Boring. Get your merch at baseballsandboring.com and subscribe to Play Tessie wherever you get your podcasts and rate 5 stars. It really helps us out. Find us on YouTube, hit the thumbs up on the video, subscribe there, and find us on the socials at Play Tessie on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Full squad. Sammy's here, Pat's here, Gordo with you guys, and Sox took 1 out of 3 in the Twin series. It was an eventful series, a lot of bad and a nice finish to it. This could have been a really negative pod, and I think losing the first 2 and winning the third is going to put us in a position to speak kind of how the season has gone, which is it started out horrible, but for the most part in the last week or so, it's been a little bit better, but there was still a lot of bad within the better. Last pod, we showed up here and we got a mixed bag of reviews of some people saying we were too positive considering where we were in the season. Others saying we were too negative considering they had just won a series and have won 4 out of 5 games. I think that's a good thing. If some people think we're being too positive, others think we're being too negative, that means we're probably right on. But I feel like that's going to be kind of where this is. When they lose games and they lose series, we're going to come on the pod and talk about the issues with the team, the roster construction, whatever in the games led to them losing the series. If they win the series, then we're going to be happy. We're going to be in a good mood because the hope is going to be hopefully they could stack up some wins now before they kind of find an identity, hopefully find a pattern to help them win more ball games. That said, you can't really get too high when they win ball games because we see where they rank in all of these stats, where they're at the bottom of the league in practically everything. And in this case, they lost 2 out of 3, and we're going to talk about the Crochet stuff. We're going to talk about everything. In the end, I love that how they played in the third game. They were aggressive. They put the ball in play. They ran the bases. They pitched. They got 6 innings out of the starter. 7-0 when they get 6 innings. 7-0 when they get a quality start. 0-11 when they don't. So right now, that's the mold, and it's a tight window to fit in, right? Like you got to be able to win games without doing that. But right now, that's your path, and they're going to need good starts. And in one of the 3 games in this series, they got it. In 2 out of the 3, they didn't.
Totally agree, Gordo. A tight, moldy window. This team is going to go as far as the pitching staff takes them. And when I say that, I'm mainly talking about the rotation. I don't think the Red Sox played too poorly this series. I would say in 2 out of the 3 games, they actually played well. First game, Crochet, historically bad. ERA maxing, some would say. He's up to 7.5 now. Not good. But the rest of the team played well. Story had 1 error, and that was basically the only other snafu the entire game. Game 2, terrible. That's it. That's my analysis. Terrible. And then game 3, they were great. So I know they lost the series, and I don't want to come on here and be like, hey, everything's fine. Don't worry about it. But I actually, as the Red Sox leave Minnesota, I'm feeling more positive than negative about that series, despite them losing 2 out of 3.
Ooh, that's interesting. I don't know. Gordo, you kind of said it. I think the way they played today as we record, so game 3, that is how this team is constructed to play. You're supposed to get 6 innings out of your super rotation. The offense should be well equipped enough to kind of put you ahead in those types of games. Bullpen comes in, kind of shuts it down. The incredibly frustrating thing is it happened twice in the Milwaukee series, twice in the St. Louis series, once in the Minnesota series. It's the lack of consistency in all 3 phases. It's either the starting pitching doesn't show up, and then the offense is just basically drowning the entire time. The pitching shows up, the offense can't hit, or it's kind of a 50-50 game. Both teams are both pitching and bats are holding their own, and then the bullpen blows up. So for me, it's a consistency thing. Like I'm still not doubting the talent on the team. I still think it's a well enough constructed team to be a playoff team. but there has to be some carryover, some form of consistency like we saw today. Because if they play like we did today, they win. They win a lot of games with that construct, that type of play. But until you get that consistency, you're going to keep getting these. You're blowing the other team out. You're getting blown out. It's just going to be this up and down, up and down. There needs to be consistency soon.
Yeah, Sammy, back to your point about being positive. After the Crochet start, and I feel like that's where we need to start this thing, because that's definitely the most top of mind topic, is what in God's name happened in game 1 of that series with Garrett Crochet. But I tweeted after that, hey, I know this happened and everything but guess what? The offense scored 6 runs again. And damn, it was a great tweet that I had drafted out. I thought they were going to score 7 runs for the 3rd straight game, despite not having done it in their first, I think it was either 11 or 13 or whatever. And they almost did it 3 times in a row. And then, they got shut out the next day, but then they did it again today. And either which way, that's 4 out of 5 games scoring 6+ runs. That's great. They did it today without a big chunk of their lineup. That's also great. At the same time, you're still basically, I don't know. I like that they've done it, but do you buy into that from the offense? Like, I don't know.
Buy into what? Because if you told me they're not gonna score 6 runs every night, but then the counter to that would be, yeah, they're a pitching and defense team. They shouldn't have to.
Right. But that's the thing, is they need to be able to win games sometimes where their starter doesn't give you a great start, if they're not going to have the number 1 starting staff in baseball. If they're going to have the Seattle Mariners starting rotation, then you can win and make the playoffs with a mediocre offense. Right now, there is 1 Red Sox starting pitcher with an ERA below 4.4. Obviously, it's going to get better than that. But yeah, Pat?
So the other thing too is, and I'm sure you guys all remember this very well because it was last season, they were losing every single 1-run game. Like it was like 19 of 21 they lost in 1-run game. Like it was insane. That being said, this team has to be able to do the opposite. Not the 1-run game thing, but they have to be able to win in shootouts. Like you have to be able to win 8-6 if your pitching doesn't show up. You have to be able to win 7-5, 6-5, 5-4. Like you have to be able to win those high scoring games. In a pitcher's duel, I am utterly the most confident ever in them winning those games. I want to see them win those shootouts. They're not doing that yet. Pat,
are you still? Because I understand going into the season we would have said that. Are you at all concerned? And I guess this can kind of lead. I don't know. Let's wait. We'll talk a little generally first before we get into the Crochet thing. But so far, Sonny Gray, 4.43 ERA. Garrett Crochet is up to a 7.58, obviously all because of that start. Brian Bayo's at a 6.14, obviously coming off a good one. Ranger Suarez at a 5.02, also coming off a good one. I think those 2 guys' starts against the Tigers are going to tell us a lot about where this team stands. But to me, and I feel I've seen a lot of negative talk about the bullpen. I actually feel okay about the bullpen, but I don't watch this team right now and say, yeah, this team's going to win a lot of 2-1, 3-2, 4-3 games. Like the pitching hasn't been good enough to this point to have earned that belief, in my opinion.
No. I mean, you could talk about the track record of the guys on the team and say like that's why I believe they'll be able to win these close 1-run games. And I wouldn't argue that, but to this point, you haven't seen it. You saw a few starts from Crochet that were good, a few that were bad, one that was horrendous. Few from early that were good, one that was bad. And then you could just go down the list. Sonny Gray, good, bad. It's just consistency. Like Pat said at the top of the show, this team will, if they can be more consistent on the pitching side of things, I don't want to say when, not giving them that much credit, but if they can become a bit more consistent, that's when I feel they'll get on a roll and start winning games. And I don't want to get into a semantics battle. That's not what I'm trying to do with this. But I don't think that they're going to need to win those shootout games once in a while, but that's not how they're built. They're not a team built for that. I would like to see them do that, but I don't know. I can't, that's not what I think when I look at this team. My thought is they have to stay away from those sort of games because they're not built for it. They're run prevention. We said it a million times. I don't want them engaging in shootouts if possible.
Yeah, it's real quick off of that. That was more so me saying like they have to win those games when the starting pitching doesn't necessarily show up. I'm not saying like I want to see them win 11-10, but if Bayo goes out and lets up 5 in 3 innings, I want to like it shouldn't be a white flag. Like right now, the second they're down more than like 2 runs, it's a white flag.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It shouldn't be a white flag. They don't have to be able. I mean, this team is built on the pitching. I don't want to talk about them in a way like they need to be able to hit their way to victory. They're not built like that. But it can't be, oh, it's over. We're down by 3. I do agree they need to fight back more. And one of the things I wanted to bring up that I have in my notes that Bradfo loves, is
he hates the notes.
When this team is down by more than 2 runs, so 3 runs or more, I feel awful. I do not feel good at all. Significantly worse than last year and other seasons past. I do not feel good in this team's ability to fight back. Now, that might change. But right now, I get nervous when they're down by 2. I don't panic, but 3, 4, 5, I'm thinking, we might be cooked, boys.
Is the only game that they've come back from more than 2-run deficit the extra inning loss in Cincy? Is that the only one so far? Off the top of my head, I think that's the only one.
Well, don't they have a really good record when they don't score first? I thought I saw that somewhere today. But it's all 1 run. I don't know. But
Let
the
me double
reason,
check. I'll get back to you.
Look into it. But I mean, the reason you feel that way is because the offense just doesn't score enough consistently, and I feel it feels wrong to say, because they have in 4 out of the last 5 games they have. So I got to give them credit where it's due. That said, you look at the guys one by one. Half the lineup at a time has an OPS below 600, and the lineup as a whole is scoring. I think it was going into today. It was the 8th least runs in the game, so they're probably going to be right around 20th. So yeah, I mean,
but Gordo, if we all agree that the guys who are underperforming are likely going to uptick at some point, doesn't that make you feel a little bit better future wise? I'm not trying to be like it's good that they're playing like shit. I'm not saying that, but
that's the thing, is they're not this bad. The question to me is still, are they a playoff team or are they the tier below that? Right? That's the realm that I see this team falling into if we're talking about where are they going to end up at the end of the season. I don't think that they're going to be this bum-ass last place team that has a bottom 5 offense and middle of the pack going into today, their starters ERA was 28th in baseball. They're obviously not that. Like they are playing significantly worse than where they will be. But even with some of that positive regression, and considering the fact that they've dug themselves such a hole, that's the question, right? Like, are they going to be good enough not just to be a high 80s to low 90s win team from this point forward, but to do more than that, to get to the point of actually for the season being a high 80s win team that can get them to the playoffs? The more they lose these series, the more they're going to have to do in the future to make up for it, even with the American League struggling.
I think the guy you can point to, if you want to be concerned long-term, not from what we've seen, but just long-term, is Sonny Gray. Just because of the age. And I'm not saying that I'm worried about him, but if I had to pick one guy, the 36-year-old who's on a new team in the AL East, I know I just said not because of what he's done, but not the best start ever. I don't know if you guys saw his interview. That was really weird. His post-game interview, am I crazy? It seemed like he was almost on the verge of tears. Like,
yeah.
The fuck was that? It was a regular season loss. He was bad, but not horrendous, not Crochet.
It gives a little bit of credence to the people that said he can't pitch in a big market, like with the Yankees stuff, and all of us are saying, come on, like that was a decade ago. Like, let's relax. He's a different person. But You're right. It did feel like he took a regular season loss in Minnesota just a little bit too hard. I don't want to judge his entire, like how he took it based off of the 2 minutes he spent in front of a camera. But yeah, it was a strange look. Pat?
So I just looked. They have overcome 1 2-run deficit and they lost the game. Just circling back to that stat.
Yeah, I mean, they have to have, not saying they need to win a ton of high-scoring games, but they do have to at least have it in your bag. Because teams don't make the playoffs if they're one-dimensional. If you have to get 6 innings and 3 earned or less from your starter to win the game, you're not a playoff team. if that's the only way you can win games.
I would point to the Red Sox bench. IKF got 2 hits on Sunday or on Wednesday, and one almost left the infield. So talk about one-dimensional. Not these Red Sox. They got I can't even get through this take.
All right, let's get into the hot topic, the thing that we have to talk about, the Garrett Crochet start. Didn't make it 2 innings. Pulled with it at an inning and 2/3, 11 runs, 10 of them were earned. They talked about it in the postgame, did get a little bit dinked and dunked and a little bit unlucky in the first. That's not an excuse at all for what happened in the second. Like it almost came off like they were trying to use that as an excuse. But I mean, he got crushed in the second inning. Not just with command. I mean, he was walking guys, but he only could throw speed inside for strikes, and they knew it was coming, and they were ambushing it. And I don't know if you want to say that he was tipping. I don't know if you want to say he was injured. They're saying he's not injured. We're not going to know for sure until he steps on the mound in his next start. I personally think he's healthy.
Buddy,
let me start there. Let's at least start with that. Let's start with the health thing, and then we can move forward from there.
Yeah.
My reasoning for thinking he was healthy is that he went 106 pitches in Milwaukee, and they let him face another batter at 106 pitches. He pitched really well that day, did not look hurt. Through the 107th pitch, obviously it wasn't good, but that's not how you would treat a starter who's battling something that you're trying to get through an injury to get to the other side. And then they went out and he started the next day. So and also not to mention he was not visited by a trainer at all during the start or after the start. So I think he was healthy. We can start there. Do either of you guys think he was hurt?
No.
I hope not. I would lean no, but Gordo, I know you have to mention it, but I don't think there's anything I trust Alex Cora with less than giving us injury updates. Look no further than Justin Slayton just a few days ago. Oviedo as well. Good one. I do think that the way he acted after the game made me feel a little bit better, but there's no way until he steps on that mound against the Tigers, I am going to be so unbelievably anxious about Garrett Crochet. Not that he's lost it or he's not good anymore. Purely the health concerns. And I know it seems like he's fine, but that ounce, the ounce of fear in the back of my mind is going to linger with me until that day. What's it? Friday, Sunday?
Saturday or
Sunday. One of the games against the Tigers.
It's Sunday. It's him versus Framber on Sunday.
Pat,
what a shame.
Sammy, you talk about the ounce of fear in the back of your head. That's a good place to start. Pat, how big is that ball of fear in the back of your head? Or is it non-existent?
It's a square.
It's
square
I wouldn't
fear.
say it's big.
It's a cube.
I would say I'm like 85 to 90% sure he's not hurt. I think, honest to God, what happened was, so he alluded to it post game. He's been missing arm side every single start this year. Like that was not new in this start. He's missing arm side a ton. And I think he started to get super erratic. The velo thing, I'm not super worried about. I honestly think he just took something off of it to help locate. And I think he was tipping. Because if you go back, Gordo.
Sorry, I was just going to say on the velo, there was someone who put out a stat comparing his velos on all his pitches from this start to last April, and they were basically the same. So it was down from his velocity over the course of last year, but from where it was last April, not down.
Quick thing on the tipping. That I figured that would be everybody's initial response, and I'm not saying it's wrong. My question is, how did they pick up on whatever the tell was from the jump? Because he was bad right when the game started, and then it got even worse in the second inning.
But
it would be film.
That's the only way. It would have to be filmed. But then how come only the twins of all teams figured it out? It's just weird.
Like if you go back and rewatch that start, they no sell reactions to that slider and cutter every single at bat. It's not even like they're like he got. I think it was Keishel. He got a couple awkward swings out of, and then Keisha went like 2 for 2. Like my thing is the no reactions to the cutter and the slider, and then sitting inner half fastball. I think he knew, obviously, because he said it. He has not been able to locate for shit so far this year. I think he took something off, and they knew that he was tipping. So the second a 98-mile-an-hour fastball turns to 94, your eyes are just going to light up. Like they truly knew what was coming, and I firmly believe that.
That's why it's so strange. I agree with everything you said, Pat. Everything you said is true, but how did they get it from the start of the game? And it could only be what Gordo said. They saw something on film, which, two questions. What the hell was it? And why did the Red Sox not notice this? If they're seeing this guy every day and there's a tell, nobody noticed that there's a tell? And again, the Twins. It's the friggin' Twins. We don't exactly talk about them like they're geniuses, but they figured it out. Just a little weird.
They've also been killing some of these lefties. That's what made early start today so impressive.
Murdering.
Imagine if they're cheating. Like there's a
Skubal,
huge scandal.
Fromber, Crochet.
Skubal, Fromber, and Crochet. But yeah, to me, to start, I watched the game with my jaw on the floor because it's almost unprecedented because you see this powerful figure that is Garrett Crochet every single time he starts, and he's on the mound, and you just know, shove, inning. He's going 6 or 7 innings. He's not allowing four runs, and if he is going to allow that, it's certainly not going to be 5 or 6 or 7. But with this, it was almost like seeing one of these immortal creatures. Like it was like when Chuck Norris died. That's almost what it was like watching it. Like Chuck Norris is invincible, but even he's mortal. Like Garrett Crochet is capable of getting hit, and it was honestly a shock to me. But moving forward, because obviously you got to put it in the past, and if you're him, you really got to put it in the past. But to me, the amount of fear, it's so hard to say because I don't think he's hurt. But there's a big difference between he's hurt and trying to pitch through something versus minor adjustments, something he can do in side sessions before his next start. He's going to be fine. They've got it figured out. And major adjustment, something that's going to take maybe several starts to figure out. Because as you pointed out, Crochet's talked about how he's had trouble locating date. He's been saying it since the spring, and he said it even when he was pitching well in the regular season. So I don't think that it's necessarily going to be something that he's going to be able to iron out before his next start, but that doesn't necessarily mean he can't still have a really good start, because as we saw, 2 of his first 3 starts were really good. I just don't understand what we saw. It was crazy to see him be powerless.
Yeah. It's like watching Brady get picked off. You think it's never going to happen, but then it happens.
It's like watching Brady throw 7 picks in a game.
Yeah, honestly. That's a better comp.
The best comp is his last pick as a Patriot to Logan Ryan. Like, you're like, oh my God, he's mortal. Like that's what it felt like. I was like he got shelled in the first inning, and I'm like, all right, he'll hunker down. We'll go from here. And then it just kept going. The one that set me over the edge was the Caratini home run because it was an absolute piss missile. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my God, go get him. Please take him out.
Yeah, this is one of those weird baseball things. Hey, we were complaining. Oh, I don't want people to stop texting me with interest about the Red Sox. Well, let me tell you, I got quite a few Garrett Crochet, what the hell is going on text messages. No clue what to say to anyone. My friends, family who come to me for Red Sox stuff, I got nothing for you. Nobody does. I don't even think Crochet knows what happened. And best case scenario, absolute best case scenario, it's just a weird aberration. And we talk about it at the end of the season when his ERA is back down to a normal ERA, and we laugh about it.
Man, it's going to take so long to get that thing back down to a normal.
It's frustrating to look at now.
I think I saw to get it back to where it was last year, he'd have to throw like 35 or so consecutive scoreless innings just to get it to where it was last year.
Just do it.
That sucks. But I got a ton of texts, and everyone's asking me what the hell is going on, and genuinely had no idea what to say to them outside of I don't think he's hurt. But in terms of if I'm scared, what I keep telling people is we're not going to know anyone who says they know that's not Garrett Crochet or Andrew Bailey or Alex Cora, and talking not to the media but talking to people that like their confidants, they don't know. And to me, it's just going to be holding my breath until he takes the mound again. Like I think he'll get back to Garrett Crochet, but if I told you I was confident we were going to get it next start, I'm not saying I don't think he's going to be great next start, but it goes back to again what Pat said about what Crochet's been talking about with the command. he hasn't exactly been himself. He doesn't need to be what he was last year to be really, really good. And hopefully he can be really good until he finds that again. But I don't think we're just going to snap right back into 2025 Crochet immediately. Even if it's a quality start. Like, you can still give you that.
All that said, would it shock any of us if he pitched 7 innings and struck out 10 batters?
No.
No, of course not. I honestly think it's more likely that he would give you a 7 shutout 10K outing than we see another 6+ earned run outing.
If you're a sports gambler, I'm not a gambler, but here's my gambling advice. Don't touch this game, this next Crochet start. Don't touch it. There's no way. There's no way. You're just throwing shit in the dark. You have no clue.
I genuinely didn't even know. I when the Red Sox don't play well, sometimes I get angry. A lot of the time I get angry. It was just jaw on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
It was just shock. I don't know. I feel confident that we're never going to see anything like that from him ever again.
We'd never seen it before. Nobody had. That
or
was
even
the
close.
most. Yeah, of all the people too, to have a blow up like that. Garrett Crochet, not Oviedo, not 36-year-old Sonny Gray. Crochet, bizarre baseball.
And blow up's an understatement too. Like, it was one of the 2 or 3 worst starts of the last 3 years. Guys, it was 11. This isn't just like a 4 innings.
Is it the worst?
7
Was it
runs.
the worst ever? Like, has there ever
No.
been one that bad?
Tanner's was worse last year.
It
What
was
was
it was
last year?
Tampa, 3 innings, 11 earned.
No, that's
better.
I would say that's better. He gave him another inning and a third.
Let me double check.
For
I'll pull up
just
that
one-
stat line. I'll pull up
Just
that
one
stat
earned
line.
run.
Joe, what do you got while Pat's checking on it?
Pat kind of stole my thunder about the Tanner Houck thing, but I do think, like, not just Sox based, all of Major League Baseball, there hadn't been a start where he allowed 10 or more runs outside of those two right there. And I think the funny thing was when it was happening in the chat, I think we were all kind of scared to, like, ask each other, like, what the heck is going on with Crochet? And I was the one who threw out the first one because it was like I think the second inning or whatever. And I said, like, what the heck is going on with Crochet? And then the chat just completely explodes with everything you guys have just been discussing.
Pat?
Okay, it was pretty fucking bad. It was 2 1/3, 10 hits, 12 runs, 11 earned. He gave up 2 home runs and he walked 2.
Crochet had one more walk, same amount of earned runs, less innings.
Did Houck strike anyone out?
He had 1.
All right, that's one more than Crochet. That was the crazy thing. Oh, man. Him and Sonny, in I think it was 41 or 42 batters, had 1 combined strikeout.
Dude,
Yeah.
Sonny's lack of strikeouts.
All year, too.
Man, I'm really going back on what I said 10 minutes ago, where I said I'm not worried about Sonny because of anything we've seen this year, but I take that back. The lack of strikeouts is concerning because he's gotten zip.
And then Jack Anderson from the freaking clouds makes his debut and strikes out the side instantly when Sonny and Crochet manage 1. And it's like the Twins are not good, right? I know they're the best record in the American League, but there's no way. I mean,
No.
I know they do now have Anthony Bonda. They have Dodger DNA. But there's no way.
That's all it takes is a Bonda. Yeah, the Twins, I mean, their offense is okay. They have some guys, but that's not a team that should be rocking your shit. Just weird, man. Just weird. Everything about this series was weird and inexplicable. Unexplainable. Inexplicable.
Yeah, that one.
Words. Yes.
And we're basically holding our breath. Not holding our I'm highly anticipating everyone's next start in this rotation except for Early. Shout out to Connolly Early. What a start today. And even though he's managed some traffic, don't get me wrong, he's kept runs off the board. He's been great. Think about it. Ranger Suarez, can he repeat what he just did, or is he going to revert back to the first two? Bayo, same thing. Crochet, holy shit, that's not going to continue, is it? Sonny Gray, same thing. It's and to take it back to where we started the podcast, for this team to be good, it starts with the starting rotation. that has to be square one. If you don't get to square one, you go nowhere. That has to be the first thing that gets figured out. And one thing that does, I mean, obviously the names, their pedigrees, what they've done in the past, and the depth in the rotation beyond these guys, if any of them are to get hurt or were to continuously suck, the rotation will be there. To add on to that, last year, I remember, because people are now starting to come at Andrew Bailey, the pitching program, all like those conversations are starting to happen now. And I remember those conversations happened last year. It was a little bit later than this. It might have been into May, but those conversations started to happen. And that's when Brian Bayo and Lucas Giolito really took off, and the rotation produced one of the best stretches of a starting rotation in baseball produced last year, and really carried the Red Sox through that win streak leading up to the All-Star break. Those questions about the pitching program started then, and then they took off. It just reminds me that, yeah, the pitching, it wasn't all roses and rainbows right off the bat last year. It got there.
Yeah, and I'm going to say everyone's least favorite thing. It is still incredibly early. We're still in April. Pitching has a long way to go. Gordo, you explained. They did this last year. Really quick, Jack Anderson, you mentioned him. In my head, he's like, "Oh, it's going on. I'm Jack Anderson." And that was more Australian, but he speaks with a British accent in my head. And then when he talks IRL and he's from Florida, I'm like, damn, you played for Team Great Britain, man.
How do you
Just,
how do you have Nate Eaton in your head?
No, I knew him. I watched him play for the Red Sox before Great Britain. With Jack Anderson, I saw him pitch one time and was in Worcester and was in person from deep in the outfield. So
What about Harry Ford?
Oh, Harry Ford in it.
Jazz Chisholm.
Yeah, now do Jazz.
British Jazz, not Chapman. Chapman was not British enough.
Not enough.
If I tag him and then throw the first, is it still an out?
Oh, I think so, innit?
Jack Anderson, elite splitter. If that's his splitter, that thing is nasty.
Yeah.
All these guys come up, make their debut, strike out the side. It's nothing. Samaniego. Oh, poor Samaniego. Got the short end of the stick. Dude doesn't let up a run, but Crochet out of all people. This is the cruel baseball world. Crochet goes an inning and 2/3, so they have to eat up all three of their multi-inning relievers and thus need a fresh arm. The only guy out of those three that has options and can be sent down is Samaniego. Sammy.
Thank you.
Sammy.
Jesus, I was waiting the whole time. Yeah, having options sucks. Just ask Zach Kelly. I think he only has one left.
This is it. Yeah. This year, if he go, I don't know if he spent enough time in AAA to start the year for it to count as an option, actually. So I think he could maintain it beyond this year. But yeah, poor Sammy. The dude has done nothing but impress since he got here. And and I'm sure Crochet feels awful for it, because these guys, I remember Andrew Painter a few days ago pitched with a migraine because he knew that if he wasn't going to make the start, someone else was going to have to go down. And he took a ton of pride in being able to make that start. And I'm sure Crochet feels like shit that Sammy lost his job temporarily because of it. But yeah, that's a cruel, cruel world.
I thought he got scratched. I thought Painter got scratched.
He did, and then he came into the game in the second inning and threw 5.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
good
right?
Big paint.
Very cool. I thought that was awesome. But Wilson Contreras.
Love him.
Are you guys it's the Alex Cora injury thing, though. He says he's down today, gets the day off on the off day on Thursday, going to be back Friday. To me, I mean, I have no idea what to believe. I'm not going to sit here and say that he's definitely going to be back on Friday, but man, if he hits the IL, we better see some more of those Masa Yoshida with the first basement videos, because this offense, man, if they don't have Wilson,
it's pretty funny.
Go ahead.
It's pretty funny that today they're down 3 of their pretty much everyday starters. No Durbin, no Abreu, no Wilson, and they set a season high in runs.
4 Narvaez too.
Narvaez, yeah.
Oh yeah, and yeah. But I that's one though that like he ran the bases. He came out after the fact and not a close game. That to me reads as precautionary. I'm not super concerned. I actually think he plays on Friday.
Who is the Friday starter for Detroit?
Casey Mize.
So it goes
Yeah.
Mize, Skubal, Fromber, Jack?
Jack. I was going to say maybe give Wilson a day off on Monday, 3 days off, really let that thing heal. But coming back after 3 days off, and here's Tarek Skubal. Does not really sound like a good way to handle
You mean
things.
Friday?
I hope he's... What?
Sorry, you meant Friday with the off day. I thought you were talking about Monday, Patriots Day. You're talking about the first game of the series.
Yeah, give him that
Okay.
day off. So it's 3 days off in a row. But then he would be coming back after that 3-day break and he'd get Skubal, which is
Fun.
tough to do all the time, let alone when you're ice cold. I hope he's fine. As I've stated, I absolutely love Wilson Contreras. I can't think of a player. Maybe Alex Bregman, which is weird. They're both recent players that have joined the Red Sox that I've just fallen in love with so quickly. So Wilson Contreras, please be okay. Pat, can you do like a doctor thing?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, he's fine then.
Yeah. No,
That doesn't-
he's good.
That
He's
doesn't
good.
count as Sammy longing for Alex Bregman to come back, right? That doesn't add.
No,
to the
count
talent.
it. Count it.
Count it?
I
Okay.
wish Alex Bregman was still on the Red Sox. He's such a good third baseman. He plays defense and he hits and he's a leader. And
Okay.
he calls people at night.
That counts.
Count it.
That counts. Speaking of the injury and getting Massa that first baseman, can we get him in the lineup every day?
So, all right. I'm glad. Wait. I'm glad you said that. If Massa is not playing against Fromber and Tarek Skubal and Jarren Duran is, I'm going to throw a bitch fit.
Gordo, you asked, can we get Massa in the lineup every day? No, we can't. I wish we could, but no, because the Red Sox have 100 outfielders on the roster and they all have to play. So,
And
I
they're
don't know
all
if you've-
worse than Massa. No,
They're
they're not.
all
But
worse.
he does need to play every day. He does. He's hitting the shit out of the ball.
just like IKF, 2 hits today. But yeah, Yoshida, again, he can hit. I don't know what the argument would be for playing Duran over him against the aforementioned that Pat said, but would it shock me? Call up Nate Eaton, by the way, for Skubal. Get him again.
If Wilson goes on the IL, that's probably who's coming up.
It's not worth it.
He's not going on the IL. But yeah, I do think Massa should be in there every day. The argument for putting Jarren in there at all, I mean, take the lefty out of the equation. The argument for getting Jarren in there at all is because you think, well, when these guys reach their peaks, we want Jarren at his peak. So we want to get him to his peak, and you can't get him to his peak unless he's playing. I get it. But to me, when your offense, and granted, I get it, they've 4 out of the last 5 games, they have scored runs, and all of those games except for one was without Masataka Yoshida in the lineup. So that is the caveat. But if your offense is a bottom 5 to 10 offense in the sport, you have to play your best players. You have to play your hot hands. And Masa Yoshida's, the eye test, the metrics, everything says that the 3 best hitters on the team are Abreu, Contreras, and Yoshida.
Yes. No notes. Full agree.
So similar topic, but a little bit different than Yoshida. In the here and the now for the next couple of games, how does everyone feel about Cedon hitting second?
Better than Durbin hitting second.
And this is someone who you can pull up the records. I absolutely trash on Cedon at the plate. I can't stand him. That being said, I think he is the best option to hit number 2 right now.
Can I take it a step further?
Yeah.
I have been vehemently against this all offseason. Every time it was brought up on social media, my eyes
No, don't say
rolled
it,
in the back
Gordo.
of my head. But I'm not saying right now, but I'm saying at what point is your best team with Cedon in the infield and Durbin not playing? I don't think we're there right now.
Oh,
But at a certain point, if Yoshida continues to prove he needs to be in the lineup, and obviously all of your outfielders We think they're all good players. You can't fit all of them in the lineup. And if Durbin a month from now is hitting 140, what is the argument for not playing Sadon at second base and moving Marcelo to third?
If Durbin keeps doing what he's doing, then yes, of course. You put
sucks.
Anyone else in. Marcelo, Monasterio, in a non-joking way, IKF. If Durbin keeps doing what he's doing, you can't play him. The reason he's still playing is because Cora and the four of us and everyone else thinks that he'll have a little bit of an uptick. Nobody thinks he's a superstar, but he's not going to be hitting 103 or whatever it is. He also plays good defense. So, long way of me saying I am not close to saying play Sadon at second base, despite his encouraging offense to this point.
Neither am I, by the way, but I'm for the first time acknowledging that there is a world because of how the roster is constructed, because of who they brought in and who they didn't bring in. There is a world where we get to the point where I do get there.
It's insane how hard it is for the Red Sox to play their elite center fielder in center field. Like, it's so annoying.
I might be flipping, actually.
Ooh.
Flipping in terms of...
Flipping as I was never advocating for it. I've been open to it. But I was just kind of, as you were talking through, I was thinking it over. The way that I saw it was Sadon would play second situationally, almost as like the right-handed platoon to Marcelo. The only downside to that, though, is you're playing Sadon at second to get more lefties in the lineup against lefties. And I wouldn't want Jarren playing anyways. So that's the thing, actually. So I'm probably kind of shying away from that now that I say that.
Pat, I'm not talking about as a platoon partner with Marcelo.
You're saying full time.
I'm talking about if it gets to the point where it's like this Caleb Durbin thing is not working and the deadline is not for another month and a half. We can't trade for an infielder yet. We just need to, and all of our outfielders are hitting, and we need to find a way to get them all in the lineup because our best 9 hitters are these 9 guys. That's when the discussion happens, which is it's ridiculous. And all offseason, I thought it was so stupid when people would bring that up because Sadon Rafaela does not have value as a player unless he's playing center field. He's at best an average bat, and he's an elite center field defender, and he's not that as a second baseman. Maybe if he played it a ton, he could be that, but obviously he didn't take a single ground ball at second base in spring training or at third or short or wherever. He didn't touch the dirt. So it really would be a move out of desperation, and it's not a move that you plan for, and it's not a move that I'm close to, but I'm just saying that it did trickle into my mind that, man, if it continues like this, then yeah, at some point, beginning of May, I could get to that point. And I don't think
it's ever going to get to that point because I think they'd go to Monasterio or IKF before they would say, okay, Sadon, get in there. The only way that they would put Sadon at second is if he keeps hitting at a plus level, which as much as I like the guy, I don't know if he's going to continue doing this. Gordo?
But the reason to do it would be because doing that allows you to get all of the outfielders into the lineup.
Right, but you could say the same thing, just play Monasterio at second and have like Sadon. You want Sadon in the lineup, though. That's why.
I'm saying if you think Sadon is one of, like, unless you think Monasterio is a better hitter than Sadon.
No, so it's the same take as me. Like, only if Sadon keeps on hitting would they.
Oh, okay, yeah, fair.
Consider.
You're right. Yes, 100%. You're right. I see what you're saying, and I agree. If it's even comparable, I mean, but at the same time, I don't want. Like, if they're even close, I don't want Sadon, the guy who you believe in a ceiling, the guy you extended. I don't want him benched.
I don't want any of it. Fucking trade Duran already. Excuse me.
Should we talk about the incident before we get to enough said?
Gotta. Actually, let's go to enough said because this is going to be my enough said.
All right.
Yeah,
enough said. Sammy, you want to go?
I'll go first.
Go first? Sammy, you got it?
Yeah, I'll go first. Should we talk about the incident?
Is that going to be your enough said?
What incident?
Okay. So, in case you somehow listened to this podcast and also missed what happened with Duran, he grounded out on Tuesday night. Bad game for the Red Sox. Things are not going well. Similar to when the tennis racket thing happened. Duran grounds out. He steps on first base because he's a responsible ball player. Got to step on the base even if you're out. Turns around, heads back to the dugout, cameras on him, and then he flips off the crowd. And my first thought is, oh God, who said what? And is this going to blow up and become a thing? Come to find out, we had a fan tell Duran to unalive himself, which is terrible to say to anyone, let alone somebody who has publicly come out and said this is something that he struggles with. Want to acknowledge that fan never allowed in a major league ballpark ever again. You shouldn't be yelling crazy stuff to players, let alone something like that. So let's get that on the table first. I don't condone anything that fan did. Screw that guy forever. Go step on a Lego every morning when you wake up for the rest of your life. But that is a person who wants to elicit a reaction. And Jarren Duran gave him exactly what he wanted. And I know it sounds unfair to criticize Duran for this, but the fact of the matter is he's a public figure. He's a professional athlete. He is wearing the Boston Red Sox uniform. There is no scenario, none, in which you should flip off a fan in the crowd. You can go back in the dugout and vent to your teammates, all that, get pissed, talk about it after. You can even point the guy out to security if you want. If you want to take it that far, point the guy out, get him kicked out. Great. But a middle finger, using a slur like he did last year, the year before, whenever that was, never acceptable. He apologized. I'm not saying that makes it okay. I'm glad he did, though. This shit has to stop happening with Jarren Duran. And we talk about, oh, why are the Red Sox not getting the value that they want for Jarren Duran? This is part of it. It's not all of it, but it's part of it. So disappointed in Duran. I feel bad that it happened to him, but that doesn't take away from the point that he is also, to a lesser degree, in the wrong here.
Yeah, I think the people, the important thing is that the fan who said that thing doesn't step foot in another major league game or isn't allowed to go to Twins games anymore. That's the important thing. And to me, it's what you said, Sammy. You just go to a security guard, point the guy out, and there you go. He can't come to another game. Now, with the way that it happened, not only do you give the guy the reaction he was looking for, but now they're Twins staff are looking for the guy. They don't know who did it. They're investigating because no one knows. So the important thing is that obviously we're talking about Jarren Duran because Jarren Duran is the Red Sox player. He's the professional athlete. He's the guy that's held to a standard above a normal person, whether that's fair or not. But the fan who said what he said is the most in the wrong here, but doesn't make what Jarren did right. It's happened too many times. We've seen it with the tennis racket thing. We saw it in Kansas City when he missed the fly ball and he went into the stands, and we saw it in Cleveland last year. And none of the times is the fan in the right, but what's going to be talked about is the reaction because you're the public figure, you're the athlete. So whether it's fair or not that you're held to that standard, you have to understand that it comes with the territory, and you have to think to yourself, like, how can I handle this and give that guy what's coming to him without bringing anything bad upon myself or my team? Like Cora and Duran said, they don't want Jarren to be a distraction. Cora said he's not a distraction, but they're talking about it after the game. They're talking about before the game today. We're talking about it right now. This is time we could be talking about the game on the field. So it is a distraction. Maybe not a long-term one, but
third time too.
Fourth.
Yeah.
If you just talk to a security guard.
Oh.
If you just Cleveland.
Yes.
If you just talk to a security guard, point the guy out, he never comes to another game. You don't give him the reaction that he wants. He gets in trouble. He's shitting his pants in jail or wherever. Maybe you can't arrest the guy for that, but he's shitting his pants.
In jail.
Meanwhile, in jail. Now he's walking free. He's laughing about it because he got Duran to flip him off. And so, yeah, the guy's an asshole, but Duran's got to find a way to not let those things elicit those types of reactions.
It's also a way to further your cause. If you point the guy out and then you speak to the media after, it's a good way to continue building on what you started. Anyway, Pat.
Yeah, so my thing is, first off, in every instance of the 4 instances, the person in the most wrong is the fan. That is indisputable. That is fact. The fact someone says that is What?
We both said that, but the tennis racket guy, I think Duran's maybe a little bit more in the wrong than the tennis racket guy.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. Okay.
I said that and I was like,
okay, yeah.
I forgot about
okay.
that. He just said he needs a tennis racket.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Besides the tennis
Three
racket,
out of the four. Three out of the four.
3 of the 4, the fan.
It's a good percentage for Duran.
So my thing is, you would think the first time he did something like this, and again, like I get it, like every time he reacts, like it's a visceral reaction. I guess it should be like this is something that he came out, he talked about it, and for someone to kind of weaponize that against him is insane. It's a dirtbag, it's a scumbag move. But again, not to echo you guys, but the thing is, this when you fuck up the first time, when you do something wrong the first time, you should be able to internalize a response and then also know, like, there should be. My thing is, it doesn't seem like he's learning anything. That's the thing that's like kind of driving me crazy, because the other day that fan says that everyone's in agreement. Fuck that guy. You go up to security, you point the guy out, he gets kicked out. Post game, if you want to say what he told you to do and then say fuck that guy, everyone's on your side. Every single person in the world is on your side. When you give him the reaction he's looking for, and then it becomes an off the field spectacle again, and it's a whole thing with Jarren and a fan again, like, that's the thing to me. It's like there's no what should be instances of learning with Jarren. Just they don't happen. And I think it that's the confusing thing, is nothing's changing. And again, I cannot emphasize enough, the fan should not be allowed to be in a ballpark. The fact that any human being would say that to another is the most scumbag, dirtbag, fuck you thing in the world. But again, Jarren's got to learn.
How did they not know who it was, by the way? Actually,
I know.
Allow me to answer my own question.
There was 40 people in the stadium. How do they not know who it was?
Right, but normally they find who did it because all the fans point. They're like, "Who's that guy? Who's that guy?" But it was always a guy. We didn't even know who it is. We all assume it was a guy. I can't imagine a woman doing this. Men we're way dumber. So, like, the fact that they haven't caught this guy is very frustrating, because as annoyed at Duran as I am, I also have sympathy, and I want this fucker to get what's coming to him and plaster his face on social media and ban him from ballparks around the globe. KBO, NPB, jump in. Ban this guy. Don't let him come to your country and yell shit.
Well, the good news is it does sound like the Twins are taking it pretty seriously and are looking for him. And as you guys noted, I mean, there's maybe 15 people in the ballpark, so it can't be that hard to find him. And even though we're sitting here asking Jarren to be better when something like this happens and handle it in a different way that doesn't become a distraction, it doesn't mean that, holy shit, this guy is, I mean, it goes without saying. He can't come to another game. The Twins have to find him. I don't think it's going to be that hard. You know generally where the guy was. You track down the tickets. You figure out who came to the ballpark and figure out who it looked like. And
first baseline. Yeah, pretty.
First baseline, easy.
You don't need a fucking detective for this one, Twins. Figure it out.
Yep. All right. I've got 2, so maybe I'll do one and then Pat, you go, and then I'll do the other one.
Sure.
The Monasterio challenge was the worst challenge I think we'll see all year. I'm glad he redeemed himself in the third game of the series. He had a great game, but in the moment, the Red Sox have not been challenging enough. They have or at least going into the third game, I'm sure they're still here, but they had the second least challenges won in Major League Baseball since the CB Buckner game. They have not been challenging. It feels like that game scarred them and it changed their whole philosophy on it. They had Andrew Monasterio, the bench player, coming in for Wilson Contreras, challenging a pitch down the middle. I'm not saying they asked him to do it. I'm just saying, like, damn, like we need to have a plan here for these things. If these guys are told only use them in crucial spots, I'm telling you, down the middle with a guy off the bench filling in for Wilson Contreras is not a crucial spot. So that was probably the worst challenge we'll see all year. I want to see the Sox challenge more on the other end of that, but not that one. That was bad. Bad as it gets. Bad
Yeah. Hey, but if you're going to have a terrible challenge like that, make it in a terrible game. You then perform well the next day, like you said, and we can all laugh about it. But that was funny. Like, come on. That was a funny moment. Baseball's funny sometimes.
All right, Pat, what do you got for us?
So the Yankees did something that I don't think any other team. No, I don't think any other team in Major League Baseball has done it before. They signed and cloned Alek Manoah and put him in Carlos Rodon and Garrett Cole costumes. There's a picture of Carlos Rodon and Garrett Cole throwing down in Florida, and they look like offensive guards. I don't know if they ate Anthony Volpe. I don't know what is going on down there, but those are two rotund boys. They got large. It is jarring.
I'm genuinely disappointed in you for bringing up Alek Manoah on the podcast where we're talking a little bit of concern on Garrett Crochet. That name should be forbidden from this podcast.
Yeah.
Wow. That was an insane connection, Gordo.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if you're thinking worst case scenarios, what was Alek Manoah's ERA in his best?
Too high. Pat, I was trying to think of mean names to call those two.
There's so many.
I came up with Carb Load Rodon, but I couldn't think of one for Garrett Cole.
Okay, you ready? I got a couple. So there's Garrett Bowl, Carb Load Rodon. What else we got here? Garrett Rolls, Carlos Rodona.
Yeah. Oh.
Yep, Carlos Rodona. I came up with Carlos Sabathia.
That's the best one. Carlos Rodona.
Carlos Rodona.
Garrett Zambrano and Carlos Sabathia.
Gravy Cole.
Yeah, there's a bunch. There's a bunch, and I'm Garrett Donut Hole. Like I'm sure there's a bunch more, but yeah.
By the way, also way too flattering saying that they look like linemen. They look like fat fans. They don't look like linemen.
Yeah, the pictures are not flattering. Garrett Cole, like the Garrett one, you're like, okay, maybe his shirt's like the wind's blowing a little bit weird. Carlos Rodon's just got a full on gut, man. Like, it's just hanging out.
Beer enjoyer.
Aren't we all?
Alek Manoah in his first 51 starts had a 2.6 ERA. He fell off the face of the earth. Oh my god!
Pitch clock killed Alek Manoah.
Yeah, see,
I feel bad for him.
He had a 6 WAR season in 22, and disaster.
All right, Gordo, what's your second enough set of the day?
Second enough set of the day is how is it possible? And I understand he's struggling adjusting to American culture, but how is it possible that Tatsuya Imai is on his? It is April 15th as we're recording this. He is on his 3rd translator since coming over to the United States. 3 translators. I remember Masataka Yoshida's first year here. He had a translator. It was his buddy from Japan. That dude didn't speak a lick of English. He made it the whole year. This guy's on his 3rd translator.
And if you remember, this is the guy who said, I don't want to be on a team with other Japanese players.
Huh.
Like,
yeah.
What happened? I think Imai's a little like eccentric, weird guy vibe. That's the vibe I got when he was a free agent, was that he was, different in a good way, different guy. And so maybe it was a miscalculation on his part. He kind of went into the culture shock alone, and it is a significant culture shock. So,
yeah.
I mean, I don't blame the guy. I get all pissy when I'm not sleeping in my bed for like 3 days. I can't imagine how he feels.
Pat's muted, and it's really awkward.
Oh God.
The thing with Imai is the three translators is insane. And then like he has the health stuff, he had like arm fatigue, like there's a whole lot of like just flags coming up as things go along. But it seems to be the thing that's the reason behind the translator switches is because he's having a tough time kind of acclimating. I can't imagine going from a Japanese city to Houston, Texas. Like, I don't blame the guy for not being able to adjust. That's a total 180.
Can I ask you what do two translators need to do to get canned in this case? Like what happened? Make something up.
Maybe, it's not just they're translating. They're like attached at the hip. Like you see Massa and his translator at Fenway, they're always, not always, but almost always together. So maybe it was, I don't know, man. Maybe the first two translators smelled bad. And he was
Try to make him wear a cowboy hat or something.
Yeah, they were like, hey, isn't Houston like the fattest major city in America?
It would be so funny if Massa's translator. Why am I blanking on his name?
I don't have it off the top of my head.
Okay.
Either.
Massa's translator.
But like, it would be so funny if like you see like Massa and his translator, Shohei and his translator. Can you imagine if they just went to like the clubhouse for an after start interview and it's just a full blown like Texas hick, like a white guy in a flannel and a cowboy hat who's just fluent in Japanese?
Yeah, that's the thing.
Awesome.
It's always another Japanese guy that also can speak English. It's never the English guy that also speaks Japanese.
Yeah,
weird.
Because every other country speaks multiple language except for us.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Should I do the outro in Spanish?
Do it in Japanese. Thanks for listening. Kite kudasate arigato gozaimasu. Play Tessie.
Nice. All right. I don't speak any other languages though, so I can't. I got to do it in English.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, I can go.
Proceed.
Thanks for tuning in to episode 344 of Play Tessie. Subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Rate 5 stars. Remember, we're presented by Baseball Isn't Boring. You can shop your Baseball Isn't Boring merch at bbisn'tboring.com. We're on YouTube on the Play Tessie YouTube channel. Subscribe there. Hit the thumbs up on the video. We're trying to grow it. Really helps us out if you guys subscribe. And find us on the socials at Play Tessie on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Reminder, we've got our Tristan Casas interview. It's the episode below this. It got dropped yesterday. It was an awesome interview. We've got clips coming out from that, but listen to the full interview. It was a really good time. You can watch the interview. As you guys know, he is maybe the best interview in the business. If it's not him, the guy that we got coming next probably is. So stay tuned for that. So we will be back in your ears in the near future. You can catch us on the radio on Sunday as well. But till next time, till you hear from us next, that's it for episode 344 of Play Tessie. For Sammy, for Pat, for Joe producing, it is Gordo here. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.